Hey guys, welcome back to the Nine Sports Podcast. My name is Kathleen Gier, and I host the weekly soccer edition of our show. If you keep up with the pod, you might have noticed me over the weekend jumping in to talk basketball with Howard Megdal from the Women's Final Four in Phoenix. If you haven't seen those yet, I'd urge you to go check them out. All four top seeds advanced to the Final Four, setting up some really interesting matchups down in Phoenix. There were some really dominant performances, some coaching drama, and in the end, they crowned first-time NCAA champion UCLA. Back to soccer, I do want to thank my phenomenal editors, Abigail Siegel and Julie Schreiber, who held down the fort last week at the Nine Soccer while I was on the road. Abigail also tackled this week's NWSL Roundup. I hope you guys are enjoying those. They've been a really fun edition on our end, being able to kind of look at the league at a glance at the end of each week. But first, our top story of the week, number one at the Nine, is from Annie Peterson. She wrote about the highly anticipated return of Sophia Wilson to the U.S. Women's National Team training camp after the birth of her daughter, Gigi. Tierna Davidson also returned to camp for the first time since an ACL injury ended her NWSL season. Both have already returned for their clubs, the Portland Thorns and Gotham FC, but it will be really interesting to see how much time they get in this window against Japan. It sounds like Emma Hayes is really excited to have them back, especially to have Sophia and Gigi in camp. She talked about that a lot on her last call. But I think, everyone's excited to kind of see how this team looks in a slightly more complete sense. That's really what Annie wrote about. Getting two of the three little stars from the Triple Espresso group back, and getting Tierna, who has just been such a rock for the team as well. And on a call last week, Wilson told reporters, Annie included this in her article, quote, I think for me, it's just being gracious with myself and going into it with the perspective of look at what my body has done for me and what it's still continuing to do for me, and knowing that it is very possible to be great at both things, be a great mom and be a great athlete. And I think that is such an important perspective as we have these younger players returning after motherhood. Obviously, she will hopefully be a huge help for Mallory Swanson as well as she makes her return. But a really important legacy, I think, that we've discussed previously about the U.S. Women's National Team being a place where women can return from pregnancy and succeed and really star on this team. So I'm excited to see how that works. And obviously having Emma Hayes be a mother herself in charge, I think has really done a lot to create that atmosphere the last several years. The U.S. will face Japan 3 times over the next 10 days, starting Saturday in San Jose. Then Tuesday, they head to Seattle. And next Friday, they will play in Commerce City, Colorado, over near Denver. And our staff will have analysis of all 3 games and a few friends on the ground helping to bring you even more coverage from the national team. Back to the NWSL, they are going to take a few weeks off during this international window. Hopefully that'll be some good rest, a good, maybe momentum shift for a couple of these teams who have had a little bit of a difficult start, to kind of get back to focus. A couple of teams are still scheduling some competition. The Kansas City Current are hosting their Teal Rising Cup. But obviously there are a lot of players in the league getting called up for international duty, which is a really impressive part of this league, but also I'm sure a little bit of a scheduling nightmare for these teams as they try to figure out who and how often they want to play without some of those big international names and international stars. This week, Angel City's win streak ended with a 2-1 loss to Orlando. The winning goal was scored in second half stoppage time by Haley McCutcheon, and she had a brace in that match. Lisbeth Oval did go down with an injury, so hopefully she's able to get some rest over the league break and return soon. She's a really, really fun young player to watch as she's kind of becoming a star on that Orlando team. The loss dropped Angel City out of the league's top spot, but at 3-1-0, they're only 3 points out of first. So we've got a lot of movement potential up towards the top of the standings. And they still lead the league in goals scored, which is a differentiator when those points and wins match up. San Diego Wave took over the top spot with 12 points and a 4-1-0 record. They defeated Boston Legacy this weekend, and they're on a 4-game win streak after dropping that first game. Ludmila scored the lone goal, and man, this team is going to be a lot of fun when Katarina Macario joins that attack. Once she's healthy, once she makes her move over to the U.S. And gets comfortable there, I think she's just going to be a lot of fun to watch in this league. And I feel like this San Diego Wave team might be able to really do something with the group it has now. And then obviously being able to add her would be a huge extra piece to that puzzle. On the other end of the standings, Washington Spirit secured their first win of the season against Bay FC. And man, I was not expecting to have them wait so long to get that. They haven't looked bad, but wins have been tough for them these first couple of weeks. Couple of draws in there, so not terrible, but just a harder start to the season, I think, than we expected after their 2 straight runner-up performances in the league. Expansion side Boston and Racing Louisville are now the only teams without a win. Boston also only has 1 goal scored, making for a really rough welcome for the Swans. Denver, the league's other expansion team, has 6 points with a 1-1-3 record. Those 3 ties are doing a lot of work to cover up for the 1 goal differential. That is not going to win you a whole lot of games in this league, but obviously they are just kind of hanging in there, and they are right in the middle of the standings. So a really nice start, I think, for an expansion team there. And again, having a huge opener. Now they have a couple more games coming up at home. They also will essentially be hosting that U.S. Women's National Team game. So hopefully they're able to use a little bit of momentum from that, some of the women's soccer crowd in town, to be able to come out and really show up for this team through the next couple of weeks. And despite the difficult start for Louisville, Kiki Van Zanten has been a really bright spot for this team. She recorded her 2nd brace of the season this week, jumped into the lead for the Golden Boot race. She has 4 goals in 4 games, and maybe more impressively has 4 of the club's 6 goals. So she is doing a lot to lead that team. We have a whole bunch of players tied with 3. So again, a lot of movement potential there in the Golden Boot race as this season continues. And with the league taking some time away, make sure you catch up on some of our bigger story coverage, like Stephanie Kaloy's story about NWSL rookies adjusting to the league that we published last week. She spoke to players like Elise Evans, Kat Rader, and Jordan Dudley about just how the transition to the pros is going and how they're hoping to improve throughout the season. Everybody talked a lot about physicality, and I know that that's kind of been a theme that a lot of players joining the league have talked about in the last couple of years as one of the big differences from college. This is a very physical, very aggressive league. It's a lot faster than college, but really exciting to see how these rookies are able to fit in and really contribute to their teams early. We do have a lot of rookies getting some significant playing time, a couple sneaking onto starting rosters. So that will be a lot of fun to watch after this break to see how teams continue to use that depth and bring in some new faces. And since the timing was a little weird last week, we didn't get much time to talk about the Women's Championship League, or Champions League, but their semifinals are set with Bayern facing Barcelona and Arsenal playing Lyon. The first match is set for April 25th, and the second will be May 2nd. Winners from there will travel to Oslo for the championship May 23rd. So it's always interesting to me to see how they spread out this tournament. Obviously, teams are playing regular league play throughout. And so them coming together and playing these matches in between ends up really making that schedule interesting throughout the fall and spring. But hopefully some good breaks in there where they're able to just get ready for some really exciting matchups. Last round was really dramatic. 3 of the 4 series ended up in split results, and those the team with the goal differential advances. So that was really important, especially when Chelsea was facing Arsenal. Arsenal was able to tack on those extra kind of late goals in the first match, and ended up advancing because of that. Um, The only team to win both of their quarterfinals was Barcelona. They defeated Real Madrid in an aggregate score of 12-2, which is a really, really impressive way to head into the semifinals, and they will have a lot of eyes on them. Grace Prince took the time to write about Manchester United's run to the quarterfinals for us last week. They took a 2-1 loss to Bayern that ended a historic streak for United, who advanced to the UWCL group stage for the first time, or advanced out of the group stage for the first time. I think you'll really enjoy that one. And again, looking to kind of increase our coverage of different international leagues, different international teams, because I'm really proud of what we've done so far in the NWSL, from starting this right at the beginning of January and being able to bring you this expanded coverage. So definitely send us feedback, who you want us to cover, who you want us to talk about, and we will try to fit that into our editing schedule. But really excited to again expand that coverage, talk to more teams. I know that we have some plans to talk to NSL. We have some Gainbridge Super League stories coming up. So trying to kind of get a bunch of different touches on women's soccer and be able to tell more and more of those stories. That is it for me this week. Thank you for listening, and make sure to tune in later this week for the hockey and basketball editions of the show. The PWHL season is rapidly approaching its finish line, and I'm not sure any of us could handle more happening in the women's basketball world, between WNBA free agency, the upcoming draft, and an already wild first few days of the NCAA transfer portal. And as somebody who helps out with our social team, I would be remiss not to mention that we do have 2 different transfer portal trackers. We have a Power 5 and a mid-major tracker that are linked on our homepage, and also at on our basketball specific page that you can get to if you go to newsrooms and women's basketball, or the 9 basketball. And then we also have a WNBA transaction tracker that we published yesterday. And the draft board from our WNBA draft and kind of prospect reporters is out there as well. We published that this morning. Also, make sure you check out Women's Sports Daily for your 5-minute recap of the latest headlines in women's sports. That, of course, is on its own feed, but you should be able to find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Type in Women's Sports Daily. And we have a whole team of people bringing you those headlines, and there is a lot of conversation on Slack about just all the different things going on women's sports. And so it's been a really exciting spring, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. As we round up definitely the winter college sports, jump into the spring. I know I really enjoyed seeing college softball really kind of get its due last year, and am looking forward to that tournament again as well. There's a lot happening in the volleyball world. Golf and tennis are really picking up. And so that is a great way to stay on top of everything without having to look all over for different stories. And then they do a really good job of recapping our coverage specifically over at the 9sports.com, THEIXSports.com. So thank you again, and I will see you soon.